I mean, I think I do care what people think about me, but like they're gonna like me, so I'm not concerned.
So you're likable. I love it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to House of Influence's Zoom Room. I'm Amir Yassai, TikTok crazed human being. I'm here with my good friend. It's CJ Franco.
Hi, how are you doing,
How are
Amir?
you?
Oh my gosh, so good, so good. I mean, COVID good.
Thanks to COVID, we have to do everything through Zoom, but it works out. We have a cute name for it, Zoom Room. I want to dive in with you. Every time we go out, we just like have fun and dance around, and we'll run into each other driving, and we never get like real deep. So I want to really dive in. It's going to be fun.
Yes.
So for people who don't know, I'm sure the 525,000 people that are following you know who you are, but I'm going to still dive in. So you're a model and now you're doing comedy. I mean, you do it all. Like listen, there are a lot of beautiful people in LA, but I feel like you're so effing smart. So I want to start right off the top. Obviously, with Black Lives Matter movement in the US in June and all the way and still going and things are changing, you were very vocal and using your platform for good. You weren't just one of those influencers that put a black square and then moved on. Like you posted, you went out, you really contributed to the movement. Talk to me a little bit about how that felt to stand on that platform and use it for good.
Well, I'm Black to start with, and people don't. I'm mixed, so people don't always know that. So it felt very personal to me. There was a lot of my friends who seemed like they didn't really want to take a firm stance, and it was frustrating because it's people who I feel like should use their platform or should use their voice. And I realized if I didn't say stuff, then it was okay for other people to not participate. And so my dad, I told him I wanted to go protest, and he was like, "No, your ass needs to be at home. You're not going to be out there. People are rioting. It's crazy." And I was like, "Oh, I think I'll be all right." And so I went out and I was protesting, and I was getting a lot for social media because I really wanted to show my friends and I wanted to show people that weren't being vocal enough that, like, hey, if I'm doing it, and I like to be light and I like to be fun and I don't want to focus on heavy things, but this is a topic that we all like to avoid. People have been avoiding this. And to say that there's no discrimination, now there is, and there has been. So it was really important for me to be out there posting. And then I got like lashback that's like I was out there posting and that's the only reason I was there, which was annoying, but I'm like, at least I'm doing something. And I think criticizing people for trying to make a difference, and sometimes people are misguided, but if they're trying to make the world better, just shut the fuck up and let them try to spread their positivity and make things better in the way that they know how.
Absolutely. And if you bring attention to it, who cares if you're like Madison Beer did a photo shoot with Black Lives Matter? I mean, who cares? She has millions of followers. If people see it, even if 5% of them are like, okay, maybe this is a real thing, that is worth it. Like, who cares if it's a hoax or like set up? It doesn't matter. Like, you're still, the eyes are still on it. So I respect that you pushed past that and kind of moved on and did your own thing. And that's what I love about you. Like, you don't care what people think of you, which is really powerful, I think.
I mean, I think I do care what people think about me, but like they're gonna like me, so I'm not concerned.
So you're likable. I love it. I love that. Speaking about being likable, like, working in fashion as a model, it's very much like keep your mouth shut, do what you're told. And how did you navigate that? Because you're a very outspoken person, and obviously we'll get to your, stand-up comedy. But how did you just like keep your mouth shut and do these photo shoots and work with these designers and not really have an opinion?
I needed money. Money. That's it. That's it. You get to work and you do what you're supposed to do. I remember doing like the shittiest e-commerce. I mean, like the most embarrassing work, the cheesiest, cheapest in a warehouse downtown, which looks like I'm walking in to get murdered. It looks like a haunted house. I would go there and I'd show up and be like, "Ooh, is this the spot?" Or like, I don't know. And I would get there and they're like, "Okay, we have 100 outfits for you today. And you're here for 5 hours. You're going to make $50 from this shoot. Let's go." And it was like, it was so insane what they put me through, but I just did it. And some of those pictures live on online. I hope they never surface. They're out there. They are out there. You would think I was making a lot more than I was, but I was like making enough to pay my rent and then cry to my parents to give me some money. And then they wouldn't give it to me. And I would send them a link. They'd be like, well, Playboy's casting for $500. And then I would get like a bank transfer.
Nice. It's good to, put the fear of God in your parents and be like, I'm gonna do Playboy.
Yeah, it only worked like once or twice. And then they were like, go be a stripper.
I love that. A lot of people, when they think of modeling, right, they think of glamour. And I know a lot of models, and it's not very glamorous work. Like, it's dealing with creepy photographers and, like you said, going to a warehouse and dealing with long hours and flights and stuff like that. So how do you navigate that? Like, especially with Me Too, like, how did you navigate the creepiness?
I didn't experience the same things. And I also didn't subject myself. Sometimes people and certain companies and brands have a reputation. And so if I was going to be working with them or around them, I would just make it very clear, like, what my boundaries were. And I'm very vocal too. So it's just like, I'm not the person that you want to molest. I'm really friendly and I'm really nice. But as soon as there's something I'm uncomfortable with, I'm very vocal that I'm uncomfortable with this. The more I've had a platform and the more I've had more status in LA and more connections, people are afraid if I say something that people will listen.
Right.
So they don't really push things. I'll hear like someone I work with was creepy to some other model. And she goes, I know you probably wouldn't believe this because you guys have such a great dynamic. And I'm like, of course he did. Like, why wouldn't I believe you? It's just, I realize that people treat me differently.
I want to go back to your dad. So I'm part of the LGBTQ community, and I know, your dad came out. Talk to me a little bit about that experience of your dad coming out and how that affected you, because that couldn't have been easy at first.
It was really easy.
Oh, all right.
It was really easy. People are always asking me that. It's so funny. Yeah. And whenever someone finds out, I used to like open with it because Hollywood is very like gay friendly, and it was a good, I would drop it when I was, at a shoot or around certain groups of people because I knew that would make them like, oh, like she has some like culture or something. Like they just loved it. Yes. But they're always asking me, and I've gone to therapy, and they go, so your dad's gay? Like, that must have been something. How was that? And I'm like, that was fine. It was fine. And the reason that it was fine is because my parents had me really young. So my dad was 16 when I was born.
Wow.
Like when I was born. So he just hadn't come out yet. And I think he came from an environment that was like not very healthy and conducive to like a bright future and like positive things. And so him and my grandma on my mom's side, she took him in. So like if you went from like a bad situation to a good situation, would you be straight?
Nope.
For a little bit.
For a little bit. Yep.
And he's a Black man coming out as gay. That is just, it wasn't well received at all when he did. But my family was really supportive. I was 1 year old, and he was a ballerina and a model. So I feel like there's a few signs that my mom possibly overlooked. And then he went and he would try to find who he really was. He moved to San Francisco, and we didn't actually have a super close dynamic until I was much, much older. To me, growing up, gay was always just on the menu. You could be straight or you could be gay. And it wasn't until I was way older that I realized like, ooh, like people seem to have a problem. People say like, that's gay. And I was like, what does that mean? What does it mean to say something is gay? And they're like, that's stupid. That's bad. That's dumb. And I was like, oh my God. Because I loved all these gay guys. I had all these like this network of great gay guys that were dressing me up in like drag. And I was doing my little runway shows for them. We were doing photo shoots. They were the coolest people I knew. And suddenly they were bad and dumb and stupid. And I couldn't wrap my little head around it. And I was like, oh no, I'm gay. And that's bad. Because I thought like it was a part of my identity being
Interesting.
Gay. I didn't understand all the logistics clearly. But
but your heart was gay. Like your dad is gay. You're part of this gay community. Yeah, you're like an ally. You're a perfect ally.
And the older I got, the more I started saying, hey, like my dad's gay. I have family that's gay. His partner, and I love them. And when you say that, it makes me feel like you don't like them and you don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
And is that what your intent is? And they're like, no, no, of course. And I'm like, okay, well then don't use that anymore. So it was I guess it was a big part of my life, but it was more dealing with other people's reaction to it than like I had no negative feelings and I wasn't brought up to have any feelings about it. It was just you had the option. Like, and my mom and my grandma, they were like, do you like girls? I'm like, yeah, I like girls. I'm like, yeah, but like, do you like them? Like, do you like want to kiss them? And I'm like, I kiss you. And they're like, yeah, no, but like not like that. And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, well, do you like boys? And I was like, no, nope. And I still kind of hate guys, but like,
That's funny. That's really funny that like the LGBTQ community has come so far in education and movies, but like 10 years ago, a lot of people didn't know anything. So it's interesting that people were coming to you. Was that pressure? Was there a lot of pressure in that?
Yeah, it was. Like I could tell they wanted to prove me wrong, and they weren't going to prove me wrong. So I would have to be really delicate about it and like not trying to push anything down their throats, but be like, you don't have friends that have come out, but once you do, once someone that you love comes out, you're not going to want anyone to be hateful to them, to be mean. You're not going to want to hear anyone say that stuff. You're going to want to protect them. So maybe you don't have that gay friend yet, but when you do, and you will, like, it's your job to protect them and not to spread hate. And then I started learning that people were like committing suicide. And I'm like, how could you feel so unaccepted by society that you feel like that's the only option you have? And I just remember like being just devastated. I was just crying and crying. And they were like, I think Lady Gaga had like I forget what it was. Like she was like, it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching all these videos and I was just bawling. I didn't realize like how hard it was to be gay.
I love that. I love that. And that's really the definition, because a lot of people wonder about what is an ally and what is an accomplice, especially with BLM and the LGBTQ movement. I think accomplice is better. You stand next to someone, right? Instead of like, sometimes I feel like ally is like you're looking down on someone. So I like accomplice. I feel like you're the perfect accomplice.
I love it. I love accomplice.
Yeah, it's cute, right? I mean, I struggled with my own, raised in a Muslim family, like I struggled with suicidal thoughts as well. Like there's no way out when you are so deep in a closet. So a lot of people struggle with that. And I think especially in the LGBTQ community, I think it's 3 times more likely to commit suicide.
Religion is just like, it just fucks. I mean, I'm all for religion, but like it just fucks people up as far as their sexuality. At the end of the day, who cares? Who cares? Someone's in love, let them be in love. It's so hard to find love and to be in love. If they find somebody and they make them happy, like whose place is it to say that you're not allowed that?
And a lot of straight people meet some really wackadoo people, and I'm like, you do you. So I think let us do us,
Yes.
Speaking of your platform, obviously you have lots of followers and you've built this world for, yourself through Instagram. What do you think the negative is? What are the pros and cons of having a platform? Because I have, a similar platform, not as many followers, but I get a lot of hate, but I also get a lot of love. So how do you balance those two sides of social media?
I don't get hate. I don't get. Okay. The worst I got was when I was posting for Black Lives Matter and I was still trying to be an ally. I was still trying to be kind of more of a mediator and like answering people's questions in a positive way. So that was definitely the worst time for me as far as getting negative messages. But like, okay, a good thing that I have going on, which I did this like years ago, but Instagram has a thing, like a filter, and you can remove any of the words. So anyone commenting or messaging you, they can't use these words. And so I have a big word bank for sure.
Same.
And I feel like I did that years ago and I've never seen anything really, really bad. I'm pretty good at even turning, like, I have fun. If somebody is like, ew, you're an Illinois 6. I'm like, oh, you know what? I better move there because that makes me like an LA too. And then they're like, no, babe, I'm sorry. I was just having a bad day or like some shit. I'm like, oh, okay. So you wanted some attention. And so I feel like sometimes people just need that negative, what is it called? Negative attention?
Validation, some kind of validation.
It is. When I got negative messages ever, anything that seemed like it was meant like to hurt me, I took that and I was like, I'm smart. How do I win this person over? How do I flip this around? Like, I don't want to keep them but you know what? Like now you made this a game for me and I'm not going to internalize any of it.
Absolutely. You're calling people in instead of calling them out. I used to call people out all the time, and I felt like that was not very effective.
It feels good in the moment.
It does.
It's really fun in the moment. Every once in a while, I'll catch myself writing out something crazy because I'm like in a mood because I have my own shit going on and I'm projecting. I'm like, oh, you want to come for me today? And then, and then I check myself and I'm like, do I have the energy and the capacity? Like, no, go do something positive. Like, I don't need to put my energy this direction.
That's really smart. And you mentioned your comedy. To write jokes and to do stand-up, I do stand-up as well. You have to be very smart to hit the punchlines and kind of construct the jokes. What kind of inspired you to finally get on stage and do it? Because it's not an easy thing to do.
I had a friend growing up, Brianna, and unfortunately she passed away when we were 18. And she was really, really funny. She always wanted to be a comedian. And I was less funny than her, but still I thought I was funny. So she didn't know we were in a competition, but we definitely always were to see who was the funniest. But I had just not blossomed. I was very shy. And so once she passed, it was always something I kind of thought about. And then when I got the opportunity, I made a friend in a sketch writing class, a comedy sketch writing class. And I'd been doing improv. And one of the girls said, there's this group called Pretty Funny Women. And it's an all-female, stand-up group. You work on your material for like a couple months and then you go on stage and she places you at venues. And then if you want to go on stage, she can book you. And I got involved in the group and I realized like, wow, I am not that funny. There are some good ass comedians out there.
Especially in LA.
But I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun. And then it was interesting to see the way that I would get booked. I would get direct bookings for a lot of jobs because they go, oh, she can do stand-up. She can improv. She's easygoing. She's not going to be a diva on set. And also I might entertain them. So sometimes they get there, they're like, CJ's here. And so I'm like, ah.
That's amazing. Well, it gives you dimensions. And I think in LA, everyone's like a slashy, right? Model / comedian / actress. Like everyone has like all those slashes because it gives you depth. So I think that's smart. It's very, very smart. Were you nervous to go on stage?
I have no issues like public speaking. I don't have stage fright.
Nice.
Getting on stage to tell my personal jokes and make other people laugh. I got on stage and I was like, well, fuck, I forgot everything. First time on stage, I was like, I forgot everything. Like I did my material for like a minute, like no laughs, like was not funny. And then I was like, okay. I was like, I forgot what I was saying, but I'm just gonna do this little dance right here. So keep it right here until I can remember again. And I just sit there and then everyone started dying laughing. And it's so frustrating because people laugh at the things that I am not joking about. It's like me being myself gets better laughs than me like trying to make people laugh, which makes me feel like I'm out of touch.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. It's like trying to be funny, people see it, they can feel it or something. Yeah.
But all my friends that do stand up, my girlfriends, they're like, oh, don't you miss being on the stage? I'm like, oh yeah. Whoa.
That's funny. Yeah, me too. I'm like, I don't miss it. I'm good. I'm good for now.
And it's just, I feel like it's just such a thankless job. It's so thankless. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the comics like have like pretty severe depression and, I don't really see like a lot of the benefits of being a stand-up comic unless you're going to do it every single day, 3 shows a day. And people can do that and still people do that and they don't get that Netflix special. So it's like, you really have to have that be your passion to want that. But I think it's in addition to other skills, just like it complements everything so well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, doing comedy and modeling and, everything you do on social, like what's next? Like, what do you want to do? Would you write a book?
I'm going to buy my fucking book. I'm not going to force anyone to read my shitty book. No, what I'm working on next is I've been working on producing a TV show.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, it's a reality show and it's still like very much so just like a seed, but I have a lot of friends and I was able to introduce some people and now we are working with a production company on putting together a pitch. And right now there's a big demand for content. and they can't go and they can't film movies because if one person gets sick on the set, they have to shut down, and that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, each day that they're shut down. So for me, like doing the introduction, figuring out like the story, pushing some comedy, I mean, it's really all my random skills have really come together, and I'm a pretty decent producer. So it's been really fun, but it's also just kind of a learning experience. And in the process of doing that, I've been, because they turned to my social media, which fucking sucks because it is sexy. My stuff is steamy. And it's so embarrassing because I'll sit on a call. I got on a Zoom call with these big producers, and I am like wearing a button-up t-shirt so they know I'm for real. And I'm all ready, but it was my first Zoom call. And so it opens like, CJ, tell us a little about yourself and like what gave you this idea to do this. And I was like, hey guys. And it's like my friend messages me and he's like, dude, you need to fix your camera. It is a picture of you in a bikini laughing. You need to fix your camera. And I was like, oh God, oh no, oh God, no. And I like got it down, and my little button-up shirt like was not enough. It was like nothing could make me come back from that.
Oh no.
All those people, all those producers, everyone in that room is gonna go and look at my social now. And it's like me slow motion, like jogging on the beach. The social platform is like a little hard when I'm trying to do business, but surprisingly, like if I cleaned up my social media and tried to make it like, I'm a professional lady, like we're gonna work together, I'm not gonna steal your husband. Like if I tried to clean it up to that level, it just wouldn't get engagement and it just wouldn't do well. And if you Googled me, you'd be like, this bitch is wild as hell. Like, what is she talking about?
And speaking of that, obviously for people who don't know, you've been in the paparazzi and in the, in Us Weekly and all that stuff. Like, how did you navigate that time of your life where like those cameras, it's something to show up to a shoot, but it's inappropriate. You don't want them there.
Yeah. Well, I was dating a film director who had just parted from his wife, and it was like somewhat scandalous. It was really hard. It was really, really hard. As soon as we were photographed together, as soon as we were seen, it was like cars following us, like anything we did. And it's like, I don't always look good, you guys, like at all. People will see me and they'll like see my Instagram. They'll be like, who's this girl? Who is she? Who's that? Like, it's fucking me. That's me. Let's shut up. Just shut up. Yeah. It felt like we were in a movie. We were getting chased by cars that were firing pictures through the window. And it wasn't really fun. It wasn't a fun time for me. And it should have been fun, but it was so much attention so quickly. And I just had to be on. And I also just kind of felt like, oh my God, if I do something wrong right now, my life's going to be ruined. Because at the time I wasn't, as established as I am now. It was incredibly stressful. And it did make me like, I had a really bad time with depression after that. Like I had a hard time with like eating after that. Like I think for like the next year, I was like pretty anorexic and pretty depressed. Wow. And I didn't want to do social media. I didn't want to do content. And yeah, it was.
Why do you think that was, CJ? Do you think it was because you were seeing photos of yourself, or why did you? What was the connection?
I was just getting compared a lot, I didn't have what I needed. I didn't have the tools and I didn't have the support system. I didn't have the structure. I was in an on and off relationship with somebody. And then what he was doing was affecting me. And trying to control another person and putting your happiness in another person is never goes well. But I didn't know what else to do. And at the same time, I remember my girlfriend was like, this girl, Kylie, was like my only friend, and she had a few cocktails one night and she goes, hey, do you think your boyfriend can give me a job on his set? And I was like, yeah, I have no control over that. I don't have any say. Like I can't even put in a good it's really not my thing. And she was like, well, I know a lot of things about you, and if you don't get this job for me, like he might find out some of that stuff. And I was like, oh fuck, you're blackmailing me for a job? So I felt like at the same time as I was like being harassed and being chased, and I learned to just make friends with paparazzi because, then you fuck up, you get a bad shot. You're like, okay, can we just one more time? We'll just do it one more time, please. And you go and you do it again and you're like, thank God. Okay, I don't look like shit.
Wow.
But I had so much going on, and then it was like my best friend. So I had to go to my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, "Hey, I need to tell you a few things real quick, because this girl's trying to blackmail me for a job. She's trying to extort a job out of me or something." And when I told him that, he was like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Like, you obviously can't be friends with her anymore." And I was like, "I know." And that was kind of like the end of that. So after that happened, I was pretty shut off to like new friends. And yeah. And my dad, I remember talking to him. He's like, "Do you have any friends besides me?" And I was like, "I do have other friends." He goes like, "Who?" And I was like, "Well, you're definitely up there."
Oh my God.
So,
But welcome to LA, right? I mean, that's unfortunately that happens a lot in LA where people see you like and they start messaging you out of nowhere. Like I know when I got a blue check mark, I all of a sudden I have 50 messages. Like, how did you do it? Can you connect me? And so so's following you. Can you set up a meeting for me? I'm like, they just follow me. Like I can't go to Carson Kressley and go, can you set up a meeting? Because he's following me. Like that's crazy. Like, but people don't understand that.
people want, they're just, it's a very envious place. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people aren't happy for your success. And, some things come, I know, easier for us than it does for other people. And it
Sure.
makes people angry or makes them jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't ever be that way. You can't ever feel that way. Like your time comes, and like, definitely for as many good days and great things have happened to me, like I had really bad days
Of
and really
course.
hard.
Absolutely. You're human.
I try not to show the bad stuff, because everyone has bad stuff happen. Everyone has hard times. And I just want to be like the light that makes things a little bit better for people. It is okay. And the only way to get better is to have higher expectations from people, good boundaries, good relationships. And everything else that happened is in the past. And the only thing is moving forward and being positive and making things easier for people, because no one, I think, has to have the same shitty experiences that I've had. And my friends, I try to do everything to keep them feeling safe. And even people that message me, like girls that message me, guys that message me with real questions and real problems, I will sit there, I will make a plan with them. We will strategize. Like that is, I love being able to do that.
I love that. I love that. It's very positive and it's good energy, and I'm here for it. To wrap up, I want to ask you some quick fire questions, just like quick stuff. What's your advice in one sentence or shorter or longer, whatever you feel like, about how to build your social media presence and your like brand?
I say respond. You have to respond to every comment you get. Engage with people. No one's invested in you if you're not invested in them. That's the biggest thing I could say. And then know your brand. So if it means like I have a list of all the things that people like me for, all the reasons I like myself. And if I post something and I don't see a few of those words in that post, like cute, fun, silly, likable, girl next door, like whatever those, it has to hit those things. And if it doesn't, I know people aren't going to engage with it, and it's not going to do as well.
And how many thirst traps have you posted in your Instagram, you know, the whole time you've been on Instagram? And then how many DMs, inappropriate DMs do you get?
I posted millions of thirst traps, just millions. Like, I mean, just so many. And my dad kept commenting on it. Him and his partner, Dennis, they kept commenting, and they're like, "Ooh, girl, looking." I was like, "Get out of here! Get! This is not for you. Go!" And they're like, "I see what you're doing." I'm like, "Go away! This is my nightmare." So tons of thirst traps. As far as inappropriate messages, I don't get dick pics.
Okay. Why?
We're all
Oh,
disappointed. Yeah, I don't get them. But I
interesting.
also kind of made it pretty clear that like if you send me dick pics, I'm gonna like block you unless it's really good, and then I'm just gonna like let it
Nothing
slide.
like a nice dick pic, right? Yeah.
This one guy sent me this picture. It was just the worst thing I've ever seen. He just didn't have the body type of my dreams, and he was much older,
Mhm.
very round,
Oh no.
very small, and
Oh
he
no.
was holding up like a cup of tea outside next to a van. Someone had to take this for him. He didn't like set the phone. Someone took this,
Oh my
and he
God.
was like, "Hope you're having a good morning." And I was like, "Why are you out by a van drinking a cup, like a glass, like a porcelain cup of tea,
Mm-mm.
and you can't even be erect for this?"
You would come erect to the situation. Yeah, I listen, that I have so many questions, but wow, that's insane. Like, what?
It was
Why are you
really
drinking tea? I just wanted to wrap up. Just one more question I have is, if you're going to go on a deserted island, who are you taking? It could be a celebrity, it could be like a friend, but who are you taking and why?
who am I taking? I don't know, maybe like Michael B. Jordan. And you
Oh,
know
I used
why?
to work for him. I can make that happen.
Can you tell him I love him?
I will, absolutely.
Michael, I love you.
Michael, are you listening? Yes, yeah. He would love you. He would love you.
I've met him a couple times. I was like, love me. Please love me.
I love that. I can make that happen. No problem. CJ, it's been so fun talking to you. It's just weird because like we've hung out so many times, but it's nice to get deeper and to kind of dive in. And you're so funny, and I wish you all the best. And everyone go follow CJ at It's CJ Franco on Instagram. Is that on all platforms? Is it the same on Twitter? Okay, perfect. And then go follow House of Influence. We are HOI, House of Influence, on Instagram. Thank you. I'm Amir, and this is the Zoom room for House of Influence. Bye, everyone.